Okay, let's dive into this. In the wild game of Discord Survivor, one single move, one failed coup, can literally change everything. And we're about to break down an absolutely incredible story of shifting alliances, a secret plot, and a betrayal that just threw the entire tribe into chaos. So, we're going to walk through the whole chain of events, right from the beginning. We'll see how these new alliances started forming in the shadows, how this secret plan was hatched to take down the king, and then how it all came crashing down, leading to this desperate scramble and a truly shocking tribal council. All right, so right after that last tribal council, the game was in absolute turmoil. The lines were completely blurred and every single player was scrambling, just trying to figure out, okay, who can I trust and where is the power really? You've got Lodom, who's feeling super secure in the majority. She's celebrating getting her rival out of the game, and you can tell she's already got her eyes on the prize, looking right ahead to that final five. Meanwhile, you have Gabriel, who everyone sees as the leader of the game. He felt his paranoia was completely justified. For him, this wasn't just some baseless fear. No, this was confirmation. He felt like he'd correctly identified a real threat and just barely managed to dodge a bullet. So on the surface, a new alliance pops up, seemingly to bring the outsiders into the fold. They even gave themselves a name, the Goat Busters, and their whole mission was supposedly to target the goats, players seen as weak who were just being dragged to the end. But yeah, this whole thing was just a distraction. 'Cause that public alliance, it was just a smokescreen. Behind the scenes, a much, much more dangerous plan was brewing in secret. This was an uprising aimed squarely at the top of the food chain. And that's where Anna comes in. In a private confessional, she straight up identifies Gabriel as the puppet master. After taking a step back from the game for a bit, she decided, you know what? It's time for a rebellion. They called themselves the Tigers of Matan. And here's the brilliant part, right? The secret little coalition wasn't formed by the people on the bottom. No, this was made up of Gabriel's own allies, plotting to take him down from the inside. And their plan was so meticulous. They were going to use a three-way vote split, 3-2-2, to make sure Gabriel would be completely blindsided with only 3 votes against him. If this thing worked, it would have been a perfectly executed move that he would have never, ever seen coming. But man, the paranoia was running high, especially from Yehuda. He totally understood that their entire elaborate plan, everything they had been building, it all depended on one single critical condition. Yep, all the secret conversations, all the plotting, all that paranoia, it would all come down to the results of this next immunity challenge. This was everything. The challenge itself was a test of speed and precision. It was basically a digital balancing act where one single mistake, one wrong move, could cost you the whole game. And in a stunningly fast time of just over 15 minutes,
Gabriel won! He won immunity, completely shattering the rebels' plan and throwing the entire game into absolute unfiltered chaos.
And just like that, the blind side was dead. The Tigers of Matan, well, they had to retreat back into the shadows, their plan totally foiled. So now the main alliance had to pivot, and of course their sights turned to the only 2 people left on the outside, Vova and Gal. And this just perfectly illustrates Gabriel's method. With that immunity necklace around his neck, he started carefully manipulating conversations. You can see it right here, how he issues a command, then he edits it to sound like a gentle suggestion. He's keeping his allies perfectly in line without them even realizing it. It's masterful. So, sensing he was in deep trouble, Gal made this final analytical plea to Gabriel. He even created this table, trying to argue with straight-up data, why keeping both him and Vova in the game was actually Gabriel's best path to winning. When logic failed, Gal went public. He posted this dramatic manifesto to the entire tribe. It was a total Hail Mary, just hoping he could spark some kind of last-minute rebellion before everyone had to vote. All that scrambling, all the manipulating, and the pleading, it all led to a super tense tribal council, where, of course, one final surprise was waiting. The vote came back as a shocking 3-3 tie. And the breakdown is fascinating, right? Anna and Noam, the members of that failed coup, they actually voted against the other outsider, Gal, probably to try and rebuild trust with the majority. But the biggest shocker? Vova. In a wild move of self-preservation, he voted for his own ally, Gal, forcing the tie and hoping the revote would somehow save him. This tie meant that Vova and Gal's fates were now completely out of their hands. It was all up to the other 5 players in this dramatic live revote. Vova fought to the very last second, desperately trying to flip the votes. But the dominant alliance, even with all its internal fractures, held firm. The revote came back, and it was decisive, a count of 4-1. And with that, Vova was eliminated. The secret coup failed, the king is still on his throne, and Gal is now the very last outsider standing in a game dominated by this fractured but still powerful alliance. His survival seems impossible. But hey, in a game this chaotic, is anyone truly safe?